Dear Mrs. B, Phyllis, congratulations! What an appropriate acknowledgement honoring all the amazingly creative work you have done for all these years. Know that all you have contributed to NWU Theater has resonated through your students all over the country. Your laughter, resilience, stamina, creative problem solving, commitment, compassion, and absolute passion have been infectious. You were and continue to be our role model, a woman setting the bar very high for us. We all aspire to that standard for a lifetime. The naming of the costume collection after you stands as a recognition of all those years of great resourcefulness. My experiences with you back in the olden days resonate with your creative artistry, whether taking an item from stock and completely reworking it to fit both body and character of the actor, anything made long enough for Phil Guy, restoring vintage garments for a period play, that beautiful champagne silk bustle dress you made over for your mother in Life with Father, or finding the perfect print $1 a yard at the back of Ben Franklin. Does anyone remember that Ben Franklin sold fabric? Accompanying you on those trips taught me frugality as well and innovation. Whatever you created made just the right statement. Once we completed Strike, that costume became a staple of the costume collection, to be used over and over again by us or by one of the many, many alums teaching theater and renting clothes from you. I remember when working with the costume library, you brokered the underground tunnel between the theater and this huge space, which would become the new location for the collection. Once complete, double-decker hanging storage accessible by a platform ladder housed clothes of every time period, color, and size, accompanied by chest after chest of drawers from the old dorm rooms, filled with undergarments and accessories, and rack after rack of shoes. This space became the costumer's gold mine. I remember my first return to campus, my shock and awe, and secret search for those spike heels from my high school graduation that I held on to until finally donating to Mrs. B for safekeeping. For those of you who have only known this glorious costume collection space, you truly missed the experience of transformation from the original storage space in the attic of the old Enid Miller Theater. Both costumes and props lived in the attic, withstanding extreme shifts in seasonal temperatures. For several years, I served as costume librarian, managing donations, sorting inventory, properly storing and labeling boxes and racks supporting the pulling of costumes for our productions and rentals by neighboring high school theater programs. In the summer, I served as actor and costume team for the Brownville Village Theater, 1969 through 1972. For those summers, Kathy Lang and I spent 2 weeks prior to BVT working in stock, touching every item in preparation for our 3-day pulling for Brownville. The temperature stayed above 100, forcing us to take breaks for the A&W root beer freezes we consumed daily. We laughed, we sweated, and to this day cherish every minute. We 3 costume girls, Pam Brown, Kathy Lang, and myself, grew up together in those days. A strong bond grew amongst us as we joined Mrs. B's posse. Lord, what fun we had! I do so wish that I could be there in person to hug you and laugh with you and simply stand by your side as you are honored by this naming. Alas, I cannot. I actually need to teach my history of dress class early Monday morning. They count on me to fill their world with stories of the world of fashion that so drives our choices as costume designers, which I first learned from you so long ago, yet it feels like yesterday. Enjoy your day and the celebration of all that you have contributed to the future of costumes by this now appropriately named costume collection. I'm planning to see you at the 50th anniversary of Brownville Village Theater. Until then, enjoy every minute as I do. Gwyneth.
Mrs. Blanke, I wish I could be there with you today while you receive this award. But because of your training, I'm in Vancouver, Canada, designing a film for 20th Century Fox. In all my studies and all my travels, I have not come across a collection like the one that you've put together at Nebraska Wesleyan. I know it took care and dedication and love to create such an amazing place. Thank you for that. I miss you.
Linda Christensen, Class of 1986. I am honored to be a part of this celebration for Mrs. Blanke. The first time I worked with Mrs. B, I was in the chorus of Carousel. I was the dancing bear at the beginning of the musical, and then had a quick change into my chorus wig and costume. Jane Boggess was my dresser, and she asked if I'd like to help in the costume shop. I didn't know anything about costumes or sewing, but Jane said they would teach me everything I needed to know if I would volunteer to help. I started in the costume crew the very next day, and I became the queen of hooks and eyes. I felt so appreciated and had so much fun, I was hooked. Every show from then until I graduated, I worked with Mrs. B in the costume crew. I spent 3 years with Mrs. B in Brownville and was honored to come back to Nebraska Wesleyan in the fall of 1988 to run the costume shop when Mrs. B went on sabbatical. The first thing I thought of when I was asked to share at this dedication was how much I owe the adventures I've had in my life to Mrs. B. Immediately, the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You Will Go, came to mind. From the Guthrie Theater and the Children's Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to the Greater Miami Opera and the Miami Ballet in Miami, Florida, to the Shakespeare Theater at the Folger in Washington, D.C., to the New Mexico Repertory Theater and the Santa Fe Opera in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Not only was I lucky enough to work at some of the most prestigious theater and opera companies in America, but I had fun along the way. From the sunrises on the beaches of Miami to the numerous monuments and museums in our nation's capital to climbing a 12,000-foot mountain in New Mexico, the places I went and the adventures I had, I owe to Mrs. B. I took the tools I learned from Mrs. B and have carried them throughout the different careers in my life since Nebraska Wesleyan. For 10 years, my husband and I owned a construction company in Denver, Colorado. The design knowledge that took hold at Nebraska Wesleyan carried over into kitchen designs, bathroom designs, basement designs, and deck designs. I now work as a designer in the advertising department at the News Press in Fort Myers, Florida, again, thanks to the design knowledge and work ethic instilled in me by Mrs. B. The places you'll go, the places I've been, I would not have experienced without my years with Mrs. B and Nebraska Wesleyan.
Hello to everyone there in Lincoln. This is Kathy Lang in Elgin, Texas, sending you warm greetings on this very special occasion. Congratulations, Phyllis, on this honor which is greatly deserved due to your dedication in organizing and nurturing the Nebraska Wesleyan Costume Collection. Having been a rentals manager of the UT collection, I know how much time and effort it takes to schedule appointments, assist folks with their rental decisions, and then follow up with the returns, repairs, and then finally restocking it all. I'm still putting into practice the knowledge I acquired as your student, first as a shop assistant at Wesleyan, and then during the 4 summers I spent at Brownville. The diligence you always used in period research, expert problem solving in the fittings, and your thoughtful attention to detail still resonate with me today in my work with Austin Opera. Designing the costumes for the matchmaker at Brownville is probably my favorite memory working with you as my mentor. I loved building your Dolly Levi costumes, and it was always a treat to work on the shows that you and Henry starred in together. The late nights building all those period costumes with you and Pam and Gwyneth was a very special time, not only because it was such great fun, but a super learning experience as well. So Phyllis, it is with a great deal of love and affection that I send this brief message of my congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful day.